Let's turn to business news now with Giles Beckford, our business editor. Giles, welcome in from Wellington on a Friday night. Real controversy about Business Journalism Awards today.
Good evening to you, John. Yes, so usually we try to keep journalists out of the story. We write the story, tell the stories, but not be the story. But in this case, it revolves around the EY Business Journalism Awards. That's Ernst & Young, the accounting business services firm. It sponsors these awards. And an independent judge in those awards resigned after an article that had been put in for consideration was withdrawn at the behest of the sponsors. Now, the article was actually by an NBR journalist, Karen Shearer, and it was about Fuji Xerox and the alleged accounting irregularities. Now, this is a big story which has cost the Japanese-based company more than $500 million in losses. It's led to several heads rolling at the very top levels of that company in Japan. And there is a serious fraud investigation into the activities of the New Zealand operation as a result. Now, this article detailed, or the entry detailed all the goings on, and it was obviously a high quality. The reason it seems to have been dropped is because EY was the auditor of Fuji Xerox in New Zealand. Now, there's been no adequate explanation as to why the entry was withdrawn at the behest of the sponsors, but so be it. That's led to, I shudder to use the word boycott, but Stuff has pulled its entries, the New Zealand Herald has pulled its entries, and I can say that RNZ has pulled its entries as well. And in the same way that we would not accept somebody ringing us up saying you should not run that story or don't do that story or soft pedal on that story, then you have to have some integrity about the awards that you enter and hope that that is followed through. We cannot accept that there should be censorship in any form in that way. One hopes that there will be an adequate and satisfactory resolution, but for the time being at least, I'm afraid it will be a pretty quiet night, I would think, at the EY Business Awards.
Yeah, and rightly so. Giles, what are we looking out for next week on the economic front?
Well, I thought we'd better just pitch forward a little bit. We've got a couple of big numbers coming out. We have second quarter unemployment numbers. We're expecting a steady unemployment rate of about 4.9%. We're creating probably around 15 to 20,000 jobs in that 3-month period. But because we have that strong immigration impulse, that means the size of the labour force is growing, and that keeps the lid on the unemployment rate, and also it keeps a lid on wages. So wages numbers, which come out at the same time, they'll be around the rate of inflation, 1.5%. More numbers on the real estate or the state of the property market from QV. Don't be surprised to see more evidence that in some parts of the country prices are actually falling. Perhaps not Chicken Licken style, but certainly all those lending restrictions and the tight market, they're really starting to bite into house prices.
Thanks, Giles. What happened on the markets at the end of the week?
Our top 50 index took a bit of a spanking today, nearly 1% lower, 72 points down at 7639. And the New Zealand dollar, which yesterday was kicking around 75.5 cents, it's taken a bit of a tumble. It's down at 74.7 US cents and 93.8 Australian. And that's business for another week, John.
It's been great having you with us, Giles Beckford, our business editor. Have a fantastic weekend.